Hello friends, welcome to JavaEE EJP JPA tutorial. Now you are watching part 5 of the video JPAQL. So here we are going to implement search functionality to list all the savings accounts. So this video will help you to understand how to retrieve multiple entries, multiple entry in the sense of multiple saving accounts entity, and pass it to the JSP and render it. So that's what we are going to do here in this video. These are all the slide decks from our previous parts. You can quickly review it. So this time our select query will return multiple records. So instead of using get single result as we did in our previous search by owner name, we used a get single result. This time, since we are going to retrieve all the entities, we will use a get result list. So in this video, we are going to implement this button click. So get all accounts, that means it will list all the accounts in tabular form in the browser once user clicks this get all accounts. In the last video, we introduced the JPAQL. Here, JPAQL will make use of the where condition to perform filter based on the person name. So first we will go ahead with our remote bean method declaration. Here if you see query all accounts, so that's the method query all accounts, that's the method here we are declaring, and it will return a Java util list and the list of savings account. So this is nothing but our entity. So once the method is declared in remote interface, we will go to our next code snippet and we will implement this method. And this time if you see, the JPAQL is select SAC. SAC is the alias name. You have to look at the from list, saving account SAC. So this is the entity we are querying. And this time we don't have any filter. That means if the database table tagged to this saving account, so with the table annotation, if you know in our previous sub-series, the savings account is tied to savings AC database table object. All right, so here we are retrieving all the records of savings AC. Next we make use of entity manager, create query, and we pass this JPA SQL. And it returns a query. Since this query select SAC from saving account SAC. This will return multiple result. Here we use a relevant method get result list. That means not one result, it will return multiple result. So that's why here we are making use of java.util.list for or to collect savings account entities, and we return this accounts instance. So this account instance that is returned to the caller is a collection of savings account entity. So that's all here on the Bean implementation side. Now we will go to the servlet. In the servlet, we are checking submit for button is not null. So no other input is required because here we are going to list all the account. So that's why we are checking submit for is not null, and the value for this one is get all accounts. So if equal ignore case is get all accounts, then so if you see here, first we are checking in the and condition, we are making sure submit for is not null. That means we have a valid submit for object here. So once we have a valid object, that means the user clicked submit for, and we want to make sure the string returned or value returned by the submit for is get all accounts. So request dot get a parameter submit for, and that submit for returns the value associated to this submit for input element is get all accounts. So that's what here we are checking. So if that's the case, we make use of our saving account bean and whatever method is declared here. So this is the remote interface, right? So through proxy we are calling query all accounts, and we know that that will return the list of savings account. So here we are holding that in a reference called accounts. This time we are setting the attribute request.set attribute. Instead of accounts, we appended a s here. So it states that a multiple account, that's why we formed the name accounts. Then here we pass the accounts. So attribute you can give anything. Since previously we used account, since it was a single entity, we used the name as account. Here it's a multiple entity, so there is a possibility of multiple entity. So here we use the plural form of account. Here we use accounts and we set the attribute. After that, these are all the same. Request dot get a request dispatcher. Now our previous JSP is not valid. Why? Because that will render a single savings account. But here we are returning the list of saving account. So we create one more JSP file, query result multiple.jsp. After that, we forward the request and response and delegate the work to this JSP file. So this JSP file involves a similar kind of coding as we did in our previous example. So here we are not listing it. We will directly go to the demo and see the code change for this query result multiple.jsp. Now it's time to demo. We will go to the demo and implement our fourth search functionality. The third search functionality we will implement in the next video. We just changed the order. Search 1 we implemented, search 2 implemented. Instead of implementing search 3, we gone to search 4, list all accounts. Now let's go to the Eclipse demo. So here is our Eclipse. Since we need to implement the new functionality, list all accounts, we are opening this remote interface and we declare our new method, query all accounts, and it returns a list of a saving account, and this list is from java.util package. This is not AWT list and not this XML schema. So you have to click on this Java util. So EJB bean and implement the new functionality. So once again we are importing it. So this functionality was already explained in the PowerPoint slide, and if you see, this is our JPAQL. We pass it to the entity manager create query, the JPSQL, and we get a query, and from that query we make a call to get result list that returns a list of savings account, and we return that to the caller. So this is the return type. Now we will go to the servlet layer. So we will close EJB bean and the client. We implemented the new functionality, and we will go to the web src servlet and query saving account servlet. Here, if you see, these are all from our previous videos. First we searched the savings account using the customer ID. Next, based on owner ID, we did our search. Java.util. Now here we are making call to query all accounts, so that's what we implemented now here in this video. So this also explained in the PowerPoint slide. Here we need to create this JSP. So the query by account ID and query by owner name uses same JSP file. This JSP file takes care of rendering the single savings account entity. But here, this JSP, we have to write in such a way that it will iterate through all the savings account, list of savings account, and render that in a iterate and render all the savings account. So in our web project, so right clicking the web content and choosing new, other, and JSP file. So we already copied the JSP file. No. So this is the JSP file we are creating. We will go with the JSP with the HTML markup template, and here you can see the template how it will look, and here we are clicking the finish. Here we are going to process a list of savings account Java instances. That means the entity instances. So first we will put the record page directive to import Java util list and savings account from our tube coding examples JPA entity package. From this package we are importing this savings account, Next, inside the body tag, if you see, the Servlet is forwarding the request and response to our JSP file, and in the request we already have the attribute for list of saving account under the name accounts. So here the Servlet is setting that attribute. We need to retrieve that attribute here, and first we declared it as null, then using the request.get attribute we are passing the accounts. So that's the name here, and the retrieved object we are typecasting it to list savings account, and then we are storing the reference here in the accounts. So in the rest of the JSP page we will make use of this object. We will iterate the entities. So the accounts may have one or more entities. We need to iterate and render that. So after this scriptlet, we printed a static text with a h1 tag, list of accounts. So in the next scriptlet, we are running a loop, and if you see accounts dot size, accounts is list, right? Accounts dot size, we are getting the count. So do not worry about this error, because here we opened a parenthesis. Here also we opened a, parenthesis, not parenthesis, curly braces, and we need to end these two. So that's why here error mark is coming. All right, first we are getting the size of the entities from this list, then we are running a loop and list. So this is list, right? Accounts is list. List.get, we are passing the index and we are getting a single entity. And here, based on the index, we are doing a modulus division. This is to change the background color of the single entity that get rendered, so that the appearance will look good with a alternate color for each entity. So inside the if condition, if you see, since this is not in scriptlet, we are forming a div tag, and we set some of the style attribute for this div tag. So this is the div tag, and font size large, color blue, background color alias blue, font family Verdana. So that's the attribute we are setting. And in the else portion of this if condition, that means when it is a even row, we are setting this. When it is an add number of row, we set a different background style. And what we are printing here is the account ID, account.getPID, account.getPname, account.getBalance. So we did this in our previous JSP also. The same way, from the single entity, we are making use of the getter methods, and we are retrieving the PID, Pname, and balance. So if you see here, we are mixing the scriptlets with the static content. Of course, this is a JSP expression in between in this static content. Now, if condition is here, we have to close that open curly braces, and we have to start the else portion as well. So within a scriptlet, since it's a Java syntax, we close the curly braces, and you can look at the marker. So this is for this if condition, and we are starting a new else portion. This is not yet closed. So in the else portion, we are forming one more div tag, and if you see, the code are same as compared to the if portion, and it differs by the style. Font size still large, color still blue, background color only we are changing. Other stuffs are same, the account ID, all those stuff. So you can even further simplify it, but For easy readability, I am repeating the code whatever is here. The same code we are repeating in the else portion also, with the only simple change. That's all. Now we need to end the curly braces for else as well as our for loop. Now we'll go here. So that's all errors are gone, and we implemented our JSP file. Let's start the server. Okay, here if you see Wildfly server is started, we will clear this. And we will deploy our EJB EAR. So here you are seeing deployed EJB EAR. Now we will render saving AC home page. I mean saving AC search form. So both are started. I mean the Wildfly server as well as our deployed component, and both are in sync. Now we will start this search form. Okay, so mistakenly clicked that. Anyhow, so these search are implemented as part of our previous video. Now we will go for get all accounts, and you can see the accounts are displayed in alternate color. So this is the first account. The account ID 1 is owned by James Anderson and balance is 1500. Account ID 2, normal number, balance. So it listed 4, and now let's copy this. Just for a cross check, we will go back. We'll put a person name here, and we'll do a search. And shows account ID 6 is owned by Moni Menon. Balance is 1400. Now this is our saving account homepage, right? We'll copy this. We'll create a new account. So you can assemble all this page in the website home page. Here, since we are learning, I have to manually type this content, but you can create a master page. From there you can search, you can reach this account management page and account search page. So here we will create a new savings account. So account ID is 7. Now we will go back here, and if you see the 7th account added is shown here in our query. Now you can even search by ID. Now we got a new ID, so I'm typing 7 here. We will remove this and we will do a search, and it will show the account ID 7 is owned by Nandana Pillai. Balance is 1300. In our next video, we will perform a balance search. User will type a balance 1000, and if they click equal, the search should scan the record and display the person who is having the account balance 1000. If there are more person who is having 1000, all the account should be retrieved. Less means all the account having the balance less than 1000 will get retrieved and displayed. And if you see, since we wrote here to display the multiple entities, we can reuse this same JSP, and yeah, we can reuse this same JSP, since it has the possibility of returning more result. I mean this search that we will implement in the next video. Now we will go back to our server. Here we are clicking stop to undeploy it. Once you see the undeployed message, you can come back here and you can remove it, then stop the server. So doing this will help when you continue to the next video. So the deployment won't give any trouble. Alright, if you want to take a backup in between the demos, you can exit the workspace. You can exit the workspace and zip the content and save it separately. So you can save the workspace location, the Eclipse workspace location, zip it, keep it in a safe location. The same way you can zip the server location, Wi-Fi server location also, and you can keep it safe. And if you see in this subseries, we doesn't make any changes to our Wi-Fi server, but as part of the previous videos, we made changes for the database connectivity, all those stuff. And so in those cases, it's good to have a backup, so that if something goes wrong, you no need to do all those steps once again. Alright, that's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.